Okay, it's day 173, and just a recap of yesterday, it was another big day, 10 videos. Started out with the Gritz fundraiser again. We're up to about $33,000 now. Of course, I have no part whatsoever to do this. This is really to just provide a level of confidence for Robyn. She's currently employed. A lot of times, employers don't like people to come forward as a whistleblower, especially against the FBI. So this gives every dollar lets Robyn basically be more honest about actually what's happening inside this cabal, this McCabe Brennan cabal, to affect change. And this is really our whole democracy. We don't go at this kind of CIA death grip on the throat of American democracy or constitutional republic, whatever, what have you. It's not going to get any better. So unless we support the people that are being very courageous and coming forward, it's really all for naught. We could have all the discussions in Congress that we want. The permanent seat of government really is the FBI and the CIA by extension. So we talked a little bit about the Gritz files in the first episode. What we're really talking about is all the cases and how it kind of pieces together the Iran deal. By looking at the career of Robyn Gritz, you can kind of get some great metadata in taking apart the Iran deal over the last, since the year 2000, I would say. And of course, we had a couple of episodes where we reacted to the episode with Jason and Quinn, musing that I lived in the Hearst Castle Museum and so forth. No, it's true that Hearsts have a summer home here in Chicago, but I trust me, it's not here. But there was some good things that came out of that, which was Quinn talked about my dad's invention and the whole idea of a repeater, which became kind of the cell tower, which made you think of iridium. It made you think of Nellie Orr. It made you think of Imran Awan. It made you think of Muhammad Awan having a company called Blue Skylink for iridium. It made you think of BlackBerry and the BlackBerry's iridium phones and iridium stations and managing rat lines. So in a sense, it just kept all this kind of noise or whatever keeps pointing back at the fundamentals of our channel. And also, you think of Muhammad Tahir Awan, and you think of Space Eyes and Channel Logistics and All Will Lead, and all those things that were put together, Ibrahim, all those things that were put together to manage this rat line going to Pakistan. So it's kind of good every time, even though it's a little bit of noise. There was some signal there too. Quinn especially provided a lot of signal as far as radio technology goes. Of course, we kidded about the Patty Hearst being in our basement here. But again, it reminds us of the NXIXM cult in San Francisco and how they were how the old bootleggers kind of became the new drug runners. So if we follow those old bootlegger rat lines, the old Capone rat lines, kind of leads us right to today's current drug rat lines, which is helpful and instructive, coming through here in Chicago, coming through Montreal in Canada, coming through the West, where it kind of migrated, where that Nexium Seagram's fortune kind of migrated across the United States during Prohibition. And those same drug rat lines are still in place, of course. Cuba to Florida being a famous drug rat line and bootleg rat line as well. We quickly went into drilling down on the Gritz files, though, for these centrifuges. And we kind of looked at these key steps along the way in the development of the Iranian nuclear program. They had an IR-1, which did a certain efficiency up to about 3,000 centrifuges in 2007. And then the program kind of took off with these new reactors or new centrifuges, which could do double the amount of uranium, these IR-2s, and then we went into IR-4s. And even though we had events like Stuxnet, public events, what was really happening was different groups were coming out and exposing these different facilities. First, this one here at Nat Ants, and then the second one here at 4Dow. And as these were being exposed, it kind of forced the FBI to come forward and say, hey, we did something. Well, it turns out that the 1/5 of the reactors, or excuse me, the centrifuges they took out were probably these old ones that were failing anyway, and they were putting in 4 times more productive centrifuges while doing that. So again, it was kind of a little bit of a shell game. Now we're putting in the IR-8s, which are at least 8 times more efficient, up to 20 times more efficient. So the Iran deal that says that they're reducing from 20,000 to 14,000 centrifuges is really another shadow shell game because they're 8 times as efficient as the old IR-1s. So we learned a little bit about centrifuges. That was kind of good. And we learned a little bit about Sabiri, the Robyn Gritz case, going to the Gritz files again, and how this woman went over and studied in Iran, but then also how her father was involved in the nuclear industry. Was she a cover, a go-between, because she was caught with classified information in Iran, and also the father being involved in the nuclear industry? Was that the go-between? Was that the channel? Was that the funnel? Was Robyn Gritz getting close to that with her team in Tehran? Is that why she got yanked out by Gaddis? Is that why? We stopped in at Loop Capital because it's always Loop Capital. We'll go a little bit forward here. It's always fun to stop in Loop Capital. And they have this crazy art. And I don't know if people have seen it up close, but they have this crazy art in the Denver airport. I think of the CIA's old play with Black Panthers and trying to migrate that to kind of the Black Muslim movement, and how that really didn't go very well, and they had to kind of shut it down with Malcolm X and so forth, and kind of made the shift to bringing kind of Muslim radicals into the United States to kind of take over the port cities and then the major inland ports as well. And this kind of, artwork here at the Denver airport kind of shows that these flower of these youths, shall die by this Islamic sword here. There'll be a great gnashing of teeth. We'll have to use, automatic weapons if need be. There'll be a lot of innocents that die, but we'll be sure to fentanyl them, and our squad will have a lot of fun before they die. There'll be this gnashing of teeth, but then out of that will come kind of this rebirth, and then we'll have the society as we want it. And this is Loop Capital's artwork in the Denver airport. There's no other reason to have these panels in this kind of progression other than just tell that kind of story. There is no other explanation, but it's a very logical explanation. We took a little bit of look at Reza Sabiri, the father, and then the potentially Sabiri's brother being in the nuclear industry and being kind of nuclear go-betweens. We'll get more into that story later. Then finally, I'll finish off with Robyn Gritz here, almost at $33,000. That number was about 16,700 when we got here about 5 days ago. So we're very happy with that. But again, if we really want to take advantage of the one chance we have of unhooking the cabal of McCabe and Brennan, here's our chance. We can't have an economic sword of Damocles hanging over Robyn's head all the time. If she had more confidence in this rainy day fund, she could do even more in terms of taking down this cabal that tried to overthrow the president.